The following Earth Angel Media presentation is brought to you commercial-free as a gratuity from the sponsor producer named after the show. Please consider their message. Find other high-value shows listed at earthangelproject.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Soul Decodes. Join us as we wander off the path to find the ideas that fascinate. We talk about spirituality, the mind, the ego, wellness, and hidden history with tips, travels, and tales. Charms for a better life.
Welcome, everybody. You're listening to Soul Decodes, and it's Friday, November 7th, episode 64. It's another special guest day. We have a really good opportunity here to talk about something that we feel is relevant to just so many people. Do you agree, Sarah?
I do, everyone, yes.
So I'm
yes.
Dr. Tia Jolie Phillips, and you're listening to Sarah Thierry. Sarah, we talked about depression. What's your take on just the overall state of affairs with people?
Well,
what are your thoughts on depression?
Well, it's a very useful conversation to have because everyone at some point has been depressed. We all know what that feels like. So it's a really worthwhile discussion.
And so we have a guest in the house.
Oh, sorry.
And that's okay. We're still getting used to the guest thing, but we have a guest in the house, and her name is Jess, and she's going to remain a little bit anonymous, but we're going to get the essence of her story out, and then we'll go from there. But Sarah's going to take the lead, and she's kind of, because we're both meeting Jess really for the first time. We had a brief conversation, but Sarah's really good about getting information out and kind of getting the human interest part of this down before we go into the details. So have at it, Sarah. Go for it.
So you realised that you were depressed. This was 3 years ago or prior to that. And then you decided to take a radical measure to investigate why that was, to alleviate it. Can you just give us a brief rundown of what made, because that's quite a big decision to partake
it was
in,
huge.
isn't it?
Well, thank you so much for having me and
and
for having
also,
this discussion.
Also fill in the blanks about how you found out about us. What's the connection?
For sure. Yeah. So if you heard last week's podcast, you'd know that Mike is my brother. And I know he mentioned his sister a couple of times. Yes. So I figured it'd be a good opportunity to come and share and to use this to reach people. You know, it's like you said, depression has touched so many people.
Yeah. I can't think of anyone I know who hasn't been depressed.
Right, for sure. It's an epidemic. And
to the human condition.
Yeah, absolutely. And it hinders so many areas of life. So for me, I hit a wall. I was 39. Growing up, I never could visualize my life as an older person because I was so depressed. I never thought that I would reach the age of 40.
Wow.
Ever. And so at 39, I hit that wall and I said, I've got nothing to lose.
Right.
Got everything to gain. And I've tried everything else.
And what was the day-to-day running of your life in this depressed condition? Could you still work? Could you raise children? Could you hold down relationships? Could you TikTok along?
It depended
fake
on
it?
Yeah, it depended on the day. There was a lot of fake it till you make it, but I never made it.
Right.
There was a lot of faking it. There was a lot of putting on that mask of this is who people think I should be. This is who I think I should be. I should be smiling. I should be happy.
A lot of pressure.
Why
for that.
not? You know, but inside I wasn't.
Didn't feel it.
I wasn't. And this started at 15 years old. So the majority of my life, I had the identity of depression. It was a veil. It was a shadow that was over me.
But you recognized it. So you were the watcher of this experience and the participant.
I recognized it, but I was never in control of it. Ever. You know, I went through all of the motions of trying to get help in so many various forms. And a lot of things helped, but nothing healed.
Nothing alleviated it.
Nothing healed.
Nothing
you know,
manageable.
At 15, I went to the doctor because, you know, my parents realized something's going on. You're sleeping a lot. You're apathetic. You don't want to go to school. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
So I went to my pediatrician. He said, you need to exercise more.
And was there any truth in that?
Sure. There's benefits to eating healthy. There's benefits to exercise. There's benefits to happy, clean living.
So did you try that? Did you implement that?
I tried, but I also left without a quote unquote prescription. He said exercise. Okay, what does that mean? I'm 15 years old.
Yes, you needed more of a plan.
And at that time, I was 12 years old when we got dial-up internet at home. The internet was not what it is today.
Right.
So I didn't have access to a ton of information. And mental health wasn't talked about the way it's talked about now. And it's still not talked about as much as it should be. It's not accepted as much as it should be.
But we're making advances, aren't
we?
We're
making great advances, but we're not there. And for me, in the mid to late 90s, that was not the reality.
And do you think, had you have listened to conversations, perhaps like the one that we're having, that this would have been of benefit to you? So what we're doing is addressing what you might have needed at the time, where there's an open conversation. Yeah. I'm not feeling the things that I should feel, that a healthy young girl should feel.
For sure. I think...
And yet you came from an upbringing, because your brother said that appeared to be quite normal, happy on a lake, had all these,
wonderfully happy. Yes.
It seems quite an idyllic childhood in a way.
I would absolutely describe it as idyllic. It really was. We grew up in nature. My parents really instilled in us, the love of God, the love of family, treating each other with kindness, all the things. Yeah. But at 15, call it hormones, call it biology, call it, environmental factors.
Yeah, just lost
interest
in the whole thing.
Yeah, who knows what it was that triggered it, but it was there and it latched on and it never went away.
Tough.
It really was. It was. And I really struggled, as a teenager, trying to make sense of what all these things mean. I had what most people would call a normal young adulthood. Yeah, I went to college. I got a job. I moved around. I did things. But it was in spite of depression. I had to fight my way.
Force yourself.
Every time. Yeah. And it got to a point, especially in my early to mid to late 20s, where it was debilitating. I couldn't get out of bed.
The apathy,
but then also along with the feelings of hopelessness, all the mental aspects you would anticipate, feeling hopeless, feeling down, feeling sad, all of the things that you could equate to mentally also came with physical components. I couldn't physically get out of bed. My whole body.
Had you got dystrophy in your muscles as a result of not moving? Had you slept a lot and not done any exercise? I mean, your body was packing up along with your mind in a way.
Yeah, my body was definitely holding on and creating trauma in itself. And so, it's like when you put on a weighted blanket, those extra, 15, 20 pounds,
I tried
whatever
one of
it
those
is.
recently. It's horrible.
Well, that's what it would feel like in the morning. The weight, just not.
So the effort, there was just so much effort just to do something normal.
Exerting so much effort. There were days I couldn't brush my teeth. I couldn't get in the shower. My hair would hurt, like my scalp. I mean, there were just pieces of me that were just not functioning, and it was really painful. And I didn't give up hope during that time. I visited doctors, therapists. I had a psychiatrist. And at 28, I checked myself into a hospital.
Oh, did you? That was brave of you.
Well, I had gotten to the point where I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself to be alone in my house. I didn't trust myself.
To make decisions for yourself.
Yeah, I was scared that I could potentially harm myself. Yeah. And so I, with the support of my family, said, okay, this is the next step.
Had you got to the point where you thought of harming yourself? Have you ever been close to suicide, or was checking yourself into hospital to prevent that?
It was to prevent it, but all of the suicidal ideations were coming into my mind. And I could acknowledge, as you say, the watcher, I could acknowledge this isn't normal thought patterns. This isn't how other people function. Why am I functioning this way? Yeah. There must be something wrong or different about me, and I need to get help. And
good for you, because that's a big decision.
You
had the backing of your family.
It was. Now, I can say it was a big decision, and I am thankful that I did it because it gave me that quick time out. It was a 48-hour stay. To know, okay, I don't have to worry about anything. Yeah. I don't have to worry about, harming myself, but I also don't have to worry about work. I don't have to worry about,
You could check out.
I could check
under
out.
supervised care.
Correct. I could take a mental time out. However, that facility is not something that is built for people dealing with depression. It is a facility that's throwing everybody in there. So if you're dealing with a major psychotic break, you've got schizophrenia, you've got people who are dealing with major depression issues, and people who are detoxing, all in the same space.
Wow, that's intense.
And it's different. Those maybe require different treatments.
Yes.
And
different
so I
environments.
sat there thinking, I don't belong here.
Mm-hmm.
But
that was probably the best thing for you, actually, at that point.
I really, it was like a reality check. Like, I don't belong here.
Yeah. And I
but
don't have
still
it that
don't know.
bad.
Right. But I still don't know what's wrong
You
with
can't.
me.
You haven't investigated it. Yeah.
You know, so it
God,
was.
that was freaky.
It was
Listening
a
to
real,
all those people in distress like that.
It was hard. It was really hard. I took away a couple tips and tools, to breathing and, just some meditation techniques. And that's helpful.
But nothing concrete that alleviated anything.
Concrete.
So that's
but
kind of disappointing.
It is. But I also left with a prescription for an SSRI. Okay. So that's when my path of medicating pharmaceutically my depression began. And that was about 10 years. So I was on an SSRI for 10 years.
And did that help you initially?
I think it was a stopgap because I had hope. I had hope that this was going to work.
So hope is
hope is a powerful thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I
necessary.
had hope every time I walked into a therapist's office. I had hope every time I walked into a doctor's office. I had hope every time I took that SSRI that something's going to turn around. And
isn't SSRI an antidepressant? Is that would be the general classification of that?
I'll go ahead and chime in on this because I think, first of all, I want to share with you that we admire you for your bravery back then, but also now. I think you're doing a major public service, showing up here and telling your story. I know it's not easy, but I appreciate you doing that.
Thanks.
The questions that come to my mind as you talk about your history were, I understand you went through this, you had this beautiful upbringing and things, but these are questions from a holistic natural health doctor. Presumably you were getting fresh air and sunshine and clean foods.
But you weren't, though, because you were lying in bed, your body was breaking down. And
that's why I was curious. I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
So when you're in bed, was it because you were not eating properly, or were you eating junk food, or what? What do you think was going on there? Because your body, you were obviously hungry at some point, right? Like you had hunger or not hunger.
I mean, I have tried different avenues for nutrition. So I've tried a vegetarian diet, a vegan diet, mostly in my teenage years. But my depression wasn't, it was peaks and valleys, not to like the manic state. I didn't have the bipolar disorder where you have those huge manic highs and then those low lows.
So this was a low grade, solid depression.
I was steady until I was low, especially in those teenage years. And when I was low, it was, depending on the episode, a couple of days, maybe a week. If it stretched to 2 weeks, that was kind of long. But I would have gaps in between where I was okay. But in my head, I was melancholy. In my head, I was sad. But I could function, and I wasn't, in the dark in my room constantly.
So just meeting you for the first time and talking to you, you strike me as a very brilliant girl. Like you've got a good command of the English language. You're logical. You present yourself well. It seems to me just intuitively that you were a very bright teenager.
Oh, sure. I got good grades.
And a lot of times bright, because all of us were bright teenagers, all three of us. I found that, at least in my youth, being bright was also a very lonely place. Did you find the same with you, or did you find that you were bright and people were okay with that?
No, that's fair. I think that there is a loneliness to being the other in any sort of way.
I think there's a loneliness to being a human being.
Yeah.
Fair.
How are you the other? What is the other mean?
I was kind of the artsy kid in school.
Okay.
I wasn't, I played sports. I wasn't good at them, but I played, I tagged along for a lot of things, but I didn't have that sense of self. I didn't have that full understanding of who I am. And I don't think a lot of teenagers do. And I'm in awe of the ones who have it figured out early.
And your brother was in the same position at age 17. He had an existential crisis. He had no meaning to his life whatsoever. So this is running in the family. Now, you said you did 10 years on this medicine and it helped initially. It did something that alleviated it. But ultimately, you were just still, you hadn't made the progress that you were hoping for.
It did something in that I was hopeful that it would cure. I could, if I could be on this medication and it would cure my mental state, it would cure my physical state, then, I was happy to figure it out and go along. But I had to change medications multiple times. Every time you change a medication, it came with its own side effects. I would have to increase dosage because my dose had stopped working, or I'd have to add another pill onto it to be a booster. Jeez. So there was always these tweaking that were going along. Yeah.
So let me kind of dive in here, because there's a lot of people out there that think that the SSRI does some benefit to you.
What does it do? It
I was going to explain that.
It enhances something?
Well, it doesn't enhance anything. It actually...
Is it a tranquilizer?
No.
Oh.
An SSRI does not enhance something. It actually inhibits something. SSRI,
is that the I, the inhibitor?
Yeah. So SSR means selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. What does that mean? Basically, it doesn't give you serotonin. Serotonin is that neurotransmitter that gives your brain the sense that everything's okay.
Well-being.
Just a general well-being. Now, it's similar to dopamine. Dopamine is the I'm thrilled to meet you. I'm so excited because something is new or novel.
Yes, the high level.
When I first flew airplanes, I was just so excited. It was just this high because it was new and exciting and different. I was learning new things. That's dopamine. Serotonin's a little bit not as up there.
So is it the inhibitor removes serotonin in order to do what to your consciousness?
Serotonin is the feel good. So here's the link. Holistically, there's two types of serotonin that your body has generally. And I'm not a biochemist, don't want to get into that, but S1 is a configuration of serotonin that's made in your gut. It's generated in your gut. And the purpose of it is to stimulate gut motility. What that means is that the smooth muscle contraction of your gut, the serotonin squeezes your guts and it helps you poop, right? It basically squeezes the gut so the poop comes out. That's basically what S1 does. And if you've ever had a really good bowel movement, you have this really good feeling that comes over you. That's the serotonin in the gut. It's done doing its thing, and it gets released into the body. It gets released into the body, and you feel good.
It's a relief.
So it's done doing its job, squeezing the gastrointestinal tract to do its job. The sequential movement of the gut, the motility of it's called the peristalsis of the gut. So it's squeezing the gut, but when it's done doing its job, it's done so it can go back into circulation and you can feel good. That's why people who are constipated are cranky.
Oh,
because that serotonin doesn't get released. It's trying to do its job, but they ate the wrong foods. They ate junk food. They did all, and they can't poop. That's why the gut and the brain are so intimately connected. So the S1 configuration, as soon as you release it, quickly gets transferred. It gets flipped over to tryptophan, passes the blood-brain barrier. Then it becomes an S2 configuration within your brain. The S2 configuration is just a slight variance. That becomes the building block for your melatonin, which is essential for your deep sleep. So that's why your gut and brain are connected. So if somebody's not pooping, they don't feel good, they don't sleep well. It all starts with the gut. So what an SSRI does is it prevents the reuptake or the dissolution or the resorption of the serotonin that you're generating. So the SSRI,
why is that helpful to someone?
Because that feel good that you have stays there.
Ah.
But if the initial feel good's not there, then the SSRI is useless. The original serotonin comes from you. your body produces their serotonin. So what I do as a holistic doctor is I help people build their body so it produces the serotonin, so it can have good motility, so you can poop well, you can feel good, and you can sleep well.
And you can make melatonin.
And then you can make melatonin. And during melatonin, you get the deep REM sleep, and that's when your body rest repairs. So you have this beautiful healing spiral, but it all starts in the gut.
But this wasn't naturally occurring in Jess. She's
that's
given
right.
inhibitors.
So sometime, if you're not producing enough serotonin, the little scrap of serotonin that you're actually producing, they don't want that to be absorbed. They want it to stay in circulation. So instead of letting it be absorbed, they use a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor to keep it in circulation so it's not resorbed, so you can at least have that little bit of stability that the serotonin offers. That's probably as far as we need to go there. Mm-hmm. But just the bottom line is, if your gut's not working, or it's deficient, or you're missing some minerals, or you're missing some...
And did you have a complete panel with your body to see what you were deficient in? Because now you would have a complete blood panel. You would know all your...
Spoiler alert. Modern medicine could care less what your enterotype is. Mm-hmm. The fungus and the bacteria in your gut, modern medicine could care less.
But holistic medicine, if you had known Jess at this time, you would have been able to give her this information.
I would have interviewed her and asked her about her. Yeah. What does she eat?
And that wasn't available to you. You had none of this information.
I had none of the information. And, you walk into a doctor's office, a traditional practice, and they already have their prescription pad out.
Yeah.
Now, if an SSRI works for somebody, great. Yeah. If therapy works for somebody, awesome. Like, I am not here to say that these things don't have a time and a place.
But for 10 years, you didn't get to where you needed to be. But for 10 years, I didn't get to where I needed to be. No. And from what I now know, SSRIs were never initially created for people to be on them for that length of time. It was a couple of months. Right. It was to get you over the hump to where you could... take all the tools in that you need to self-regulate without this medication. Right. But it becomes prescribed. So take us to the time. So you decided, okay, I'm coming off I guess you had to wean yourself off that, and that was a process. And then you decided that you were going to take ayahuasca because you needed something radical to take place in your head.
Yeah, because, like I said, the SSRI wasn't working.
Happy anniversary, by the way.
Thank
3 years today.
3 years.
Well, how did you even find out? Did you even take us through the process?
Because of Mike, right? Because of your brother?
Yeah.
But did you know about ayahuasca before Mike?
No.
No,
so he introduced me to it. So I will say, just to go back on the SSRI real quickly, what it did was make me robotic. I was a robot. I had feelings when I felt real low, because I still got the super lows, even with this medication. I could not feel happiness. I could not cry. Unless I was in a very, very low state. Right. I couldn't feel emotion. I was not happy. I couldn't feel happy. It just created this numbness.
Numbness, yeah.
And I was tired of being numb. I got to the point where I was so tired of being numb.
Really boring of that. I mean, absolutely hideous.
I wrote in my journal, I looked back on it prior to us talking, and I looked back to that time frame, and I wrote in my journal, I am at the point where I'm done with a day before it is done.
Done, yeah.
And I'm ready to just go to sleep.
Yeah, you're looking forward to that.
And try again tomorrow.
Yes.
It was always a let's try again. Mm-hmm. It was not this looking forward to the next day. It was, okay, it's coming. Let's battle through it. Mm-hmm. And I just hit that wall. So
Mike said to you, ayahuasca is something. So did you start doing your own research?
Yes, he presented it to our family about 6 years before we actually pulled the trigger to go.
Yes, because he had a kid, didn't he?
He was ready to go to the jungle. He was ready to go, and he found
had to delay it.
He found out that my niece was on the way.
That's okay. So that's timing.
It wasn't the right time for him.
That's right.
And there's this thing with ayahuasca that people say, you will get the call.
You'll be led by the spirit
in
a way.
Yes, you will know when it's time for you. And I had gotten to that hopeless point, and I looked at everything that I had done, and I said, none of this is working. And so I did some research, and thankfully, now there's so many more things out there. There's documentaries, and there's books, and there's podcasts. And so I was able to absorb all the information and take it in and make a decision. And I balanced and weighed what is the best option for me? Because there are
I think you'd got to the point,
things.
though, where it was shit or bust. You were so
Completely.
depressed and so numb.
Completely.
It didn't really matter what was going to happen.
Yes,
Even if
but-
you'd have got freaked out, it would have still been better than this robotic.
100%. I was ready to lay it all out on the line because I had nothing to lose. But there were other therapies. There's ketamine therapy.
Yeah.
You know, and I looked into that and balancing how much it costs, that it's not a natural substance, and that you could potentially get addicted to the substance coming out of it. I said, okay, that's not for me.
No, and you'd already been on this stuff for 10 years. So
we covered last week, we talked about Iboga.
Yeah.
Did you even consider Iboga?
Iboga was not on my radar.
Okay, so
As far as psychedelics go, ayahuasca was on my radar, and I think it's because that's the one I was meant to do.
and to be clear, nobody,
interesting.
this whole process, nobody ever talked to you about what do you eat, how
No.
do you sleep,
no alternative, holistic.
nothing about, because right now,
Absolutely not.
have you ever heard of nootropics? Mm-hmm. Okay, nootropics, Nootropics. There's mushroom blends and things like the energy drink I gave you, Sarah, the energy drink, that's got nootropics in it. Our greens have nootropics. These are plant-based extracts, a lot of them from mushrooms, some from roots, but they have a very profound ability to normalize the brain. I talked to 3 people in the past 3 days about this. Just using these natural, they're not even pharmacological. They're nutraceutical. They're from plant-based extracts, but to help normalize the brain function, to normalize the connection between the gut and the brain, that's called the vagus nerve system. But even now, we're learning that bringing plant fibers into the gut and feeding the good bacteria, introducing prebiotics, probiotics to the gut, those can have profound impact on the brain. Feeding different families of bacteria like Bifidobacterium longum. I know these are long names, but if you feed the correct bacteria, Bifidobacterium, Prevotella, Bacteroides, these are different types of bacteria where if you feed them and you feed the good guys in your gut, the byproduct of them just existing, the metabolic byproduct are things like acetate, butyrate, and propionate. Those are very, very good chemicals for your brain. Those are foundational for your neurotransmitters.
But Jess is going to see a doctor and he's ready to write a prescription.
So
it's
now,
a load of chemicals and this information is just not presented to you.
This would have been a game changer. But,
For sure.
But there's medical doctors some time ago that didn't even know this because it's suppressed. They don't want you to know because if I get your gut working properly and you feel terrific all day, every day, well, there's no room
you've said in
for a
4 months
pharmaceutical.
you can recycle the whole blood system. You can have new blood in 4 months.
Well, your blood.
But so that's good that this is available. It wasn't to you. The other question, something tells me that you were supposed to take ayahuasca. So on the spiritual side of it.
Yeah, there is that spiritual side, and Mike's podcast definitely dove into that.
Yeah, I found that fascinating because you said the same thing, that you're called. You're almost called to it. Tell me what that means.
It's an incredible experience that you really don't know until you know. Until you experience it, it's something that's going to be so foreign to so many people.
Yeah. And it's very difficult to describe.
It's difficult to describe. It really is difficult to describe.
So if you could
people would tell me, the medicine calls you. The medicine calls you. I'm like, okay, don't quite know what that means. But, even talking today, all of the amazing things that you mentioned that plants can do, I now know that.
Right.
I didn't know that then.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I mean, mushrooms, if you look at their root systems, it's like your neurons. I mean, it mimics the body. It's fascinating. Even ayahuasca is a plant. It's natural. It is a root. It's a vine and a leaf that's crushed together to make a tea. It is a natural living substance.
We can talk about your ayahuasca trip if you'd like, when you got back from it, what was your state of mind? How could you integrate after this vast, I'm assuming it was a vast experience wherever you went?
So my experience was much different than my brother's. I think he was...
Because you just did it once, right?
I did it once. He was blown away when I went to him to say, I think this is what I need to do. And his response was like, all right, let's go. We're going. And thank God because I wouldn't have done it on my own.
Oh. Yeah.
I needed him.
Yeah.
I would not have done it on my own.
He was your rock.
Yeah. Yeah. And he knew that.
You.
He knew that. And I knew that. You know, we had to do this together.
Yeah.
And thank God we did. Because literally it was like a light switch.
Was it really?
I went in, you know, I guess to describe the experience, it's a tea. It tastes awful. I mean, when people call it a drug, it is not a drug, because there is no way that you would get addicted to this substance.
So disgusting.
Because it tastes so bad and it wreaks good havoc on your body.
Right.
But it's not comfortable.
No.
You're throwing up. You're shitting yourself. I
Oh,
mean,
God,
it
yeah.
happens.
I'd have to wear a diaper and have a big plastic
And
bag.
it's okay, because
Yeah.
everybody there is going through it, and
Yes.
it's a healing process.
So you're
But
purging something.
It is. You're purging something, but it's not. You're going in there to really fight some demons.
Yeah. So you have your eyes closed, and then you arrive in a location of some sort.
Everybody's experience
Yeah.
is different. My brother can see things. He had visions and traveled to what you would call other worlds and had a very spiritual experience, which was what he needed. My prayer for him was that he would encounter spirit, that he would
Right.
find faith,
Yes.
that he would believe in a higher power. And he got that, and he did, which is
Well, he
incredible.
met Jesus, didn't he?
He did. It's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, you come in.
And what
with
was
an
your
intention.
agenda
So
going?
my intention, and you know,
You just wanted to be healed. You just wanted some sanity back.
That was my intention, was to be healed.
Yeah.
To be healed.
Just want to be able to live
I mean,
a
I
normal
had some other, you know, things. I'd love to interact spiritually. You know, I'd love to conquer. You know, have a conquering over fear. You know, there were other things, but my primary, if I came out and I could be healed, that's all I wanted.
And did you come out completely changed?
Completely healed.
You were a different person.
Completely healed. And when I
That
say it was
sounds
like a light switch,
incredible.
you know, you take your tea, you drink it. It was about 45 minutes to an hour, and you kind of gauge where you are.
Were you nervous?
I was nervous, but I also had that freeing sensation of I've got nothing to lose, so whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I've got everything to gain.
Yes.
And so you take your tea, you sit for 45 minutes to an hour, and there's another call to say if you need more, if you need what they call a booster, come and take it. And so I went up, I talked to one of the facilitators, and they said, what are you feeling? What are you seeing? And I kind of described, like, I'm seeing some rainbow patterns, some fractals. I feel good, but
I haven't crossed the line.
Right, that's about it. She said, okay.
I haven't broken on through.
Right. She said, okay. She gave me another cup, and she said, take this. It'll get you where you need to go.
And so you were catapulted?
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And it was a light switch. So literally...
That's what the amazing part of is. You went in one woman and came out refreshed.
Yeah. So you're in for maybe 8 hours, depending on, how much you've absorbed. It is something that's absorbed into your digestion. Like, this is a digestive system, the way it works. So it's fascinating that you talk about depression being in your gut, because that's what I felt.
Wow.
Felt it
so
in my gut.
Wow.
There's a lot
That's
of us
so interesting.
There's a lot of us that believe very strongly that depression is linked to pathogens. Many of them are basically they're not only just bacteria, but there's sometimes some parasites. Right. So you might have a parasite in your gut. So the working idea, at least in my brain, is if you can introduce something that's going to kill the bad parasites and keep the other balanced, then you're going to come out the other end just like she did. So I think as time goes on and we research this further, that's what we're going to end up seeing, is a normalizing the gut, a specific targeting of certain parasites that are causing, because think of it this way, the same way that the good bacteria and the good fungus in your gut produce good outputs for your brain and body, the bad ones are also producing bad outputs. So if the toxicity, if they're producing a lot of human pathogens produce ammonia. They produce ammonia. That ammonia is very toxic to us. It's like cat urine in your gut, right? That's not a good look. It's not a good feel. And that would necessarily cause depression. So normalizing that, bringing a balance to the gut makes all the sense in the world.
So when you've done this tea in 8 hours, you sensed that it was doing something to your gut, but psychologically you were different. Did you feel physically and psychologically?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna piggyback on that because I know you said that Mike, I don't want to interrupt, but Mike, you said that Mike's experience was more spiritual. But at the same time you say that, I'm going to call you out on this because you got emotional. I like to watch people.
Yeah.
You got emotional when you thanked God for this.
Oh, yeah.
That was the thing that made you cry.
For sure.
Tell me more about that.
For sure. Yeah. So I will highlight, I can cry now. So it's still something I'm getting used to because I'm only 3 years in and I'm now able to express emotions and cry. So
you're safe here.
It happens a lot more regularly.
And does it feel quite liberating?
Celebrate it.
Yeah. I'm learning to embrace it.
Yes, a new
and
emotion.
And to not apologize for it.
Right.
But it is a new emotion for me. So
what about
I'm getting
laughter?
used to it.
After you had this experience, were you able to laugh? I mean, a lot of normal things, did they get reinstated?
Yes, but I'm still working on it. So I'm in a depressive state for majority of my life. That's gone. I'm healed. However, there are habits and tendencies that I have still, I'm still working through.
Yes.
So we're gonna. Before you go into your journal, I want to highlight this because it's very relevant. I went to the Air Force Academy, and one of my summer programs, I was actually an instructor. They call it cadre for commando school. So I was teaching one-day classes to cadets how to be commandos, right? And it was just like an orientation. Prior to that, we were taught how to identify people with suicidal symptoms because that program is very intense and the whole cadet program is very intense. So we were trained for an entire weekend how to note depression, suicidal tendencies, and this type of thing. So since that time, I've really paid a lot of attention, especially having lost my best friend when I was about 40. He committed suicide, and I'm just like, wow. So I've really been paying attention to sadness, depression, all these things. What I know when I hear you is you said you're able to cry now. Well, this is fascinating because my working model of depression is being angry or sad or having these emotions that are not able to come out. They're either you're unable to let them out because of a belief system or there's something not permitting you to express that. So you can be sad or angry. And those are legitimate. Like if somebody smashes the windshield of your car, you can be angry. That's a legitimate feeling. But if you're not allowed to be angry, or you're not allowed to cry, or you're not allowed, like I grew up in a different than you, but same. I was very, very depressed, very sad. My answer was always action. Take action, climb trees, do excitement, get that dopamine hit. I was always doing crazy things. Risking my life. So I was using dopamine to compensate for that. Like the radical, just being a crazy person. So the thing is, but when I reflect on my life, I'm sharing this with you because the suppression of core feelings is very central. Because I grew up in a place where my mom would say, "Oh, you shouldn't feel that way." But I would be sad or I'd be angry.
Get yourself together.
Have certain feelings about who I was or how I felt about life. You shouldn't feel that way. I think that we as a society need to lay off a little bit.
Yeah.
And if somebody's going through stuff, I've done this to freaking 10 people in the past 10 years. Complete strangers I saw crying. Complete strangers, I went up and hugged them. And whatever they're going through, I'm not going to judge them. I say, don't feel that way. They're obviously feeling that way, so let them go. Yeah. And my question is, did you have as a child, did you have an opportunity to, did you have the chance to? Did anyone tell you, don't feel that way? Or did you feel...
Did you have a need to feel perfect?
That's a really good question. Because I felt like I needed to be perfect.
Yeah. No, I mean...
the expectations that you shouldn't express too much emotion. We
were in a very open, loving household. Some of what I felt was probably a genetic link. I mean, there's depression in both sides of my family. That genetic something that's just wired differently. I don't know. Well, but, I was an introverted child. I was shy.
Did you have many friends?
I definitely had friends, but
did you spend a lot of time alone?
I spent a lot of time alone. I was the oldest, so I self-imposed a lot of responsibility upon myself. So, who knows? Who knows at the end of the day, what junk food I was eating or...
But so let's
who knows? Environmental. I mean, it all plays a part and just been a perfect storm of crap.
Or you were supposed to go through something spiritually, and it was all supposed to happen. So you could frame it like that. Yeah. Now you're saying
so you could be here today talking to us
for sure. Yeah, and not to I don't want to downplay the spiritual aspect of it, because it was definitely there for me in my experience. I felt a communing with spirit. I felt the presence of God. I felt
Did you really?
My ancestors there.
Now, was this a presence, an audible, or was this visual, like Mike's? Did you see, big vistas, or were your eyes closed and this was a presence?
So interestingly, with me, when my eyes were open, I saw colors in lights. Lights were intensified. So if I was sitting by the fire, it was an intensified light, and I could feel the spirit of a relative in that light.
Wow. It's shamanic.
For sure. I talked to people of past. I saw images of what I could relate to, what this substance would have been like sitting around the fire back in biblical times.
Maybe you did.
It had that sense of connection for me to God.
Maybe this is more of a remembering. This could have been something. It could have been a remembering.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep interrupting, but I want. These are curious things for me. With your transition through this process, like I don't even know what. Well, I do, but the listeners don't know who you are, what you do. Did this experience? Are you in an environment like a work environment where this is commonplace, or? Do you do accounting? What do you do? And is this what you went through? Is that relevant to your work in any way?
So this is something I was so not connected to.
So this is
completely in a different space than who I am on a day-to-day basis, what I do, for an occupation. This was foreign. This is not
foreign reality.
So you really literally did not even see this coming until it was here.
No. Right. And that's where it's slightly, my brother is a free spirit. He is a business owner and can do his own thing. I'm on the other end of it where I'm in a professional occupation. I don't talk about ayahuasca to pretty much anyone outside my family, my closest friends who know what I did. I just recently met someone after 3 years that through a conversation I figured out, oh, you've done ayahuasca. And we had that created an immediate bond. Yeah. Immediate bonds, like, oh my gosh, I finally met somebody in the wild, that has done this.
You feel less lonely.
Right. So this isn't, and unfortunately.
So you mentioned patterns. So you came back, you felt healed and you felt rejuvenated, but you realized you still had mental patterns of thought forms, and now you had to still do the work to overcome those.
There's still work to do.
That's a good segue, because I want to know about the patterns. Because
I think we all deal with those.
The brain, but
you and I probably got patterns we still got to transcend.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, there's still work to do. And that's part of what's called an integration. Like, you are integrating your experience into your life. How does it fit together? And how do you continue doing the work outside of the medicine space? Yeah.
Do you need more light? Is that
no? So here, I do want to share this with you. So, like I said, I
do
journal.
you want to use my flashlight?
No.
You can see. Okay.
I journal. I write. And so during that experience, before, after, I really tried my best to take down things that happen. And so I might cry during this, but
you're safe. Sarah will pick up for you.
This is the moment. I wrote a couple of things. I drank the medicine. I saw a blue butterfly. She wrapped her arms around me. I felt comfortable. I felt safe.
Nice.
There's
now,
things
can I just quickly,
Yeah.
Is that as real, that butterfly, as you sitting with Tia Jolie and I?
So for me, my eyes were closed and I saw and felt it.
And it was as real as this?
Oh, for sure.
So you would have felt
Right there.
like if the butterfly touched you, it would have been if I touched you.
Absolutely.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a
So
nice
there were
entry, though.
some
Beautiful
beautiful
entry
exactly.
into that.
I got some comfort and some peace
Yeah, I
right
want to
away.
see a butterfly.
And I think I needed that.
Yes.
Because what came next was not pleasant. So here's what I wrote down.
Okay.
I said, the best I can remember is it's dark. It was a shadowy presence. It felt like I was in a cold, dark graveyard on Halloween.
Oh, my goodness.
And I knew there were dark spirits. I knew there were dark spirits all around me.
And did they have the intention to harm you?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you? Oh,
It was depression. That I felt.
Right, okay.
I felt
Yeah.
it physically.
Yeah.
It was there. When I looked down at my belly, it was bulging and it was filled with a large pumpkin. And I felt like I was laying in a pumpkin patch. And I knew that it had to get out of me.
wow.
Whatever it was sick and poisonous, and it was rooted in my belly. I felt sick. And that's when I asked ayahuasca to take it away from me.
So you gave it a command. You commanded this.
I asked it. I said, take it away from me. To get whatever was sick out of my mind. And that's when I felt it all get pulled out. And I could see a sewer grate.
A sewer grate.
Like a sewer grate that had been placed over my mind to get pulled off and lifted into space. And at that moment, I knew that my depression was gone and that life was worth living.
So it had gone through this sewer gate. It had
Yep.
been released.
Yep.
You felt this pumpkin-sized ball of energy.
Yep.
And you asked it to be released. And that's why you only did it once, because you felt all this negativity had gone.
Yeah, I felt like I had a bookend experience. I went from the beauty to getting my healing to seeing other beautiful and wonderful things that I could take away and hold close to heart. But I also came away with a really, really sore stomach.
Gosh.
I
Like sore like you were punched, or sore like you had the flu.
Or was it the
like,
ayahuasca? I mean, was it?
It was a strange soreness. It was not like I needed to lay down and I was sick and I couldn't move. It was what I called my fire belly. It felt just this burning physical pain
How long did
in
that
my
last?
stomach. I probably had it into the next. I definitely had it into the next day.
Okay, so it's relatively short span of time.
It was short. It went
Yeah.
away within 24 hours or so, but it was this burning pain. And I mean, you're physically ill. You're throwing up. You know, I was definitely coming out the other end too.
Yeah.
You have, for me, I could open my eyes. I knew where I was. I knew if I needed assistance, somebody was going to
could
come
call
over and help me.
someone. Yeah.
I physically got myself to the bathroom and then I got back onto the mat and I kept having an experience. I mean, I was
Well, you held your shit
fully-
together, really,
I
didn't
really
you?
did.
I mean, really.
Literally.
You know, give or take a little bit here and there. So
For
that's
sure.
good. You didn't get...
Yeah.
Because being in this ghouly graveyard with all these sinister people, I mean, that's a hell of a trip to be on, if it's as
was.
real as this,
Yeah.
which I'm assuming it is. So
Yeah.
you really
And
had
it-
to have a presence of mind that you might not have even
But
been
there
aware that
really
you had.
was there was a physical purge. There was a mental purge. At some point, I remember staring at a candle, and it was flickering. And this was after my depression had just gotten ripped out of me. And I'm looking at this candle, and I'm thinking, God, this is such a beautiful moment. And then I saw it again. That is such a beautiful moment. That is such a beautiful moment.
So your level of
And then
appreciation just
I was,
went up.
but then I started grieving. That moment is gone, and I'm never going to have it again.
Oh.
That moment is gone, and I'm never going to have it
So you're
again.
having a good moment and then you're seeing it being...
But that realization of this moment is beautiful and I need to live in it and I need to
It's
capture in it
fleeting.
and I need to be thankful for it because yes, it's fleeting. I never had that
No.
ever.
How
I was
beautiful.
ready. I mean, on the flip side,
Well, you would have
going
taken it
through-
all for granted. You're not taking any of this for granted.
Absolutely
Everything
nothing
has
for
a
granted.
massive amount of meaning.
I used to feel like if I died, it's okay.
And now if you saw
And
a
now-
sunset, you'd probably collapse and have to pull your car over, wouldn't you?
And now I know that it's worth living. Like I know that every moment is of value and it's beautiful.
It's like the divine
Wow.
present. I
the
used to-
gratitude. See,
Yeah.
we've talked about
We've
this
talked
a
about
lot on the show.
gratitude.
I mean, that's where you've appreciation and
and
gratitude.
the importance of being present.
Yes.
I wrote Robin some time ago, it was like years ago, was going through some stuff, and I wrote her a haiku. It was like 50 stanzas of haiku for but it was called the special present. And it was a double entendre, but basically the special present is the gift of the poetry, but at the same time, the essence of the poetry was this discussion of being present, the beauty of the moment, the exact, everything from witnessing a baby being born or celebrating a birthday or being in a studio with two friends, right? The presence of being in the presence of perfect divinity.
Every moment.
Every moment.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the candle. In the grieving process, doesn't have to be there.
Yes.
It's optional.
Yes.
It's like the grieving of the candle.
But the grieving was necessary because the appreciation was,
created
now you felt like you were clinging on because I'm going to lose it. It's like you're not.
Right. It created the contrast.
Yes.
Right.
Which is great. Yeah.
And I never felt that before.
No.
I never grieved the passing of a moment because I didn't care if that moment, I didn't care if I was
Well, I don't
here.
even know whether you were in the moment.
No.
You were in some mental elsewhere, which was a
Absolutely.
prison, so you weren't
So a lot of what we
present.
talked about now has brought us from the past to the present. You experienced this ayahuasca. Since that time, like I want to make this real for the listeners. Like what somebody's sitting here and there's going to be somebody that's a Bible thumper and this is black magic and there's all these belief systems and there's other people that are like, oh, I'm all about medicine. You need to go to your medical doctor and all this stuff. Like all of these belief systems. Let's make it real for the person that's listening, that's going through depression. Like I'm going to always suggest you talk to somebody like me. Find somebody, a holistic doctor close to you. Talk about your gut. Let's bring some balance. So I'm always going to start with that. But who, in your opinion, and this is not medical advice or anything, but in your opinion, who is ayahuasca indicated for? But importantly, who is it not for? Like those are two populations. Who do you think might
Start with the not for.
Let's who is this not for?
Yeah.
So,
that's a good one.
And I'll preface it also by saying I am not a professional in this area.
Yeah,
by
you're-
any
And the
means.
listeners know that. You're just a regular woman.
I would
know
make an
your
argument.
mark.
Exactly.
I would make an argument that you are the professional.
Thanks.
Because
Well, you've got
because you have
subjective
the experience that some
I
those
have
in
the
medical world doesn't
experience
have.
for sure. And I've done research and I've dug into it, but this is not my field. But from what I understand, that there are some significant illnesses that you should not seek out ayahuasca for. One is bipolar disorder, one is schizophrenia. Outside of that,
Because exacerbated.
because that could exacerbate it. I had to get off SSRIs. If you are on medications and you take ayahuasca, there's some significant
Right. So there's
issues with
an
that.
issue. Yes.
Right. So, I mean, it was very difficult, but I had to detox and I had to be clean for a couple of weeks without the medication in my system that I had been taking for 10 years.
So is it fair to say that there's a process?
There's a process
leading
for
up
sure.
to.
You have to do it responsibly.
Get off the
there is
chemicals.
You have to get off. Right.
You can't be schizophrenic. You can't be bipolar. You can't be on that medicine. What about an age? Now, you were what, 30? How old were you?
I was 39 at the time.
39. Now, this obviously might not have been right for you in your 20s. Is an age a factor here?
I don't know.
No.
I feel like, what's the age when your brain is fully developed? 25-ish?
Well, 26 for males and women, we mature like at 21.
Sure.
Oh, really? That early? That's
So,
good to know.
I mean, I think that there's something to that. Like you
Would you
probably
suggest?
shouldn't
Would
do
you
something-
suggest that someone get in touch with their higher self? And I haven't done it, and I intend to. But I would want to be having a prayer with my higher self, going, the Holy Spirit, whatever that looks like in my pantheon, my religion, and I would probably go on a gut feeling.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this or I'm not, and I use my intuition a lot. It's a guiding principle in my life. So, and I'm talking from a woman's perspective. I'm not sure about a dude, but that would be a guiding principle. Should I do this or not? And you'll be guided, because your brother said he was guided by the medicine. The medicine was talking to him.
Yeah.
So perhaps
I agree. Go with your gut. I mean, if you do the research, if you sit with yourself and you understand your needs and you've got real intentions for doing this, and you feel called to do it, why not? What do you have to lose?
What resources?
And you've got to that point because you didn't realise I haven't got anything to lose. Things
Right,
can't get any more fucked up than this, so I'm
sure.
going to do it.
So what resources are available to people? Like we're in North America, right? We're in Florida now, but just in the broader scope of things, let's just say somebody hears this podcast and they're like, okay, this sounds fascinating. I'd like to talk to somebody. Maybe you have a big brother, a big sister. Like you had Mike to talk to.
Yeah.
But let's just say somebody's in a vacuum. They literally have nobody and they need to speak to somebody about such things. What's a good first step?
So there are a surprising amount of documentaries, I mean, on mainstream Netflix, you know, where they...
If you just put ayahuasca in, you're going to get a load of programming on it. I'm going to try that then. I never put, it's quite a difficult word to spell, but I'll try it.
We're going to have a jammy party.
There's a book called How to Change Your Mind that was turned into a documentary on Netflix. So if you're not a reader, you know, plug that into Netflix and watch that.
Yeah.
You know, there are celebrities who have done this and have talked about their experience. Aaron Rodgers is a huge proponent, NFL quarterback. And, you know, there are just tons of podcasts.
Joe Rogan is.
Joe Rogan
he's
talks
done it,
about it for sure.
You know,
Yeah. So I mean, there's resources out there to dig into,
and it's important to go in with the correct intent.
For sure.
Yours was healing.
For sure.
Take this away.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to somebody that's depressed now? Because teenagers, I mean, just being a teenager in general is a shit sandwich. Okay, I mean, this, especially the past 5 years, there's nothing normal about what's happened in the past 5 years.
Right. Yes, it's
now
really
the good
been
news
tricky.
is, and there's a bunch of people really suffering from the result of these past 5 years of being jacked up. So walk us through. If you were the queen for a day, right? How would we play out? How do we manage the government? How do we manage the state? How do we get through this?
You force everyone on planet Earth to do an ayahuasca trip. That's your power.
Well, I mean...
Right, everyone's doing this. I mean, it sounds like it was a great deal out.
It was wonderful, but, you know, I've met some very well-adjusted people who
as a result of doing
no,
that.
just in life,
Right,
you know, that
so they
are
wouldn't
tuned
need
in
to.
spiritually, they're healthy, they've got things figured out. You know, maybe you don't need to plug in. I don't know.
I'm just curious about what you and your brother have seen. So mine is just going to be a journey.
And I think curiosity is a great reason.
Yeah,
Why
I want to
not?
see what this realm is.
And this is fascinating because you and I have a lot in common, but I'm listening to you. So this is back-to-back episodes about natural compounds and stuff. I love listening to this, but I have no interest in this right now.
Fair enough.
Which is, it's just totally,
Yeah.
I want to hear about yours.
Sure,
But
I want to see it. I want to see what's out there.
because the things you're describing, I get on a daily basis. I use lucidity. I use states of relaxation, meditation. I get to those states, those full color states. I get there almost on a daily basis. So I'm going to just say, just to balance the conversation, that to those of you who are resistant to the idea of natural chemicals, plant-based chemicals,
Compounds,
that's okay.
That's okay.
You know, you can get to a place.
It might not be in your life plan.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get to a place and I'll teach you how to do it, or there's other people that can teach you how to do it. But just be patient and love yourself and just understand that there's other ways, because your body produces chemicals and you can get your body to produce those chemicals. And Sarah's books, your books do an amazing job, Sarah. I don't know if you know this, but she's a prolific author. And, you know, the idea of learning about your inner power, your inner self, and those things. Maybe you can comment on that after Jess is done. But I want to kind of bring this to a wrap up. And we talked about, you made one mention about Iboga being a little bit too much. Would you explain what Iboga is?
Yeah.
And what's just in a nutshell?
Sure.
We don't need to deep dive it, but
What's the distinction between Boga and ayahuasca?
What from your perspective, knowing that you're not a professional, but you're well read and well researched, what's your take on it?
So there are a series of plant medicines that fall under the psychedelic umbrella. Iboga is one of those. Iboga or ibogatine is something that there have been a lot of studies that are happening very recently for veterans, individuals who are dealing with PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and there's a really big push right now in Texas that to bring it to allow these individuals to have clinical trials, bring this to them and allow it to be a medicine. I think that there are different psychedelics for different needs. Iboga is 36.
Is it a lightweight compared to the ayahuasca?
It's heavyweight.
It's heavyweight.
Heavyweight. So Iboga is a 36-hour journey.
Oh.
Ayahuasca is about an 8.
Oh, wow.
So, you're in it for a longer haul. However, the individuals that they are studying this against have traumatic things that they have to work through.
Right. So this is like
and that time frame is more appropriate for what they're battling.
Because it's a
heavy
duty
it's
amount
deeper,
of work.
It's a deeper
It
work.
is.
Yes.
But
trauma.
Psilocybin mushrooms, you can microdose that and get great success for anxiety and for relieving depression symptoms. So there's shades of psychedelics that are beneficial and medicinal. The problem is they're seen as drugs. They're seen as something that you have to go to the black market for. And it's unfortunate that that's our situation in our society right now. It needs to be presented as an option. It doesn't need to be for everyone.
Tia and I did a podcast, I think it was in January, and I bought all my drugs in, didn't I? Do you remember I shook them all and I had all these compounds, all these chemicals, and I just decided, absolutely, I'm not doing this anymore. And I was given Xanax for sleeping, and I had to come off them. I didn't sleep for the entire month of January, and I've been off them since. But that's just crazy to me that we're given chemicals, yet these things, which are plant compounds, and I believe that there's a creator that created this Garden of Eden that we live in.
Right.
And where is the logic in not using what God gave us?
And what's interesting about this, Sarah, is you've got this bag full of drugs, chemicals that are basically petroleum-based derivatives. I've got people who have come to me because they're not sleeping, right? And if you're not sleeping, your brain eventually is going to get messed up because you're not going to poop right, you're not going to sleep right, nothing's going to be right. Nothing's going to work in the bedroom, right? And so what I do is again, these are natural compounds right from the earth. They're not psychedelic. Things like, it's called shilajit, or sometimes it's called mumio. I'll put some links in the show notes. These are earth amino acids. They're basically earth acids, all right? Things like, basically, if you ever, like, mumio comes from the Himalayas. You've seen these mountain goats climbing these 80-foot 85-degree slopes, and they're in there and they're chipping out this black tar sappy stuff, right? Chipping it out, and they're eating it. They're risking their lives trying to chip out this black stuff. That's called shilajit, and it's the earth. Again, it's an earth compound it's being presented from the earth, and it's a black tarry substance. And what it permits you to do is it's very rich in some of the earth minerals. It's got fulvic acid. It's got humic acid. It's got a beautiful natural mineral profile. Well, I give this to my people to sleep better. I've got my god sister.
Is this a pure product?
Yeah. It's
okay, I'm going to try that then.
Yeah, I'll give you some.
Yeah, let me take some.
I'll give you some today.
I'll take
you can
some.
take it. But basically, my sister-in-law is up. She's an actress in Toronto, and her name's Jen. And so she was having a hard time sleeping. She had just lost her husband. My god brother is a firefighter, and she was not sleeping. She had this compound for one night. I also had her take it with.
I can't wait to take it tonight because I still get hot flashes at night.
But it was. I also gave her some calcium, magnesium, potassium, some potassium. So I still do it. I sleep just fine. But boy, when I get into my lucidity, I can stay there, and it's just natural compounds that the goats eat in the Himalayas, and it just brings you. It's very earthy. It's very foundational. Jen,
so your way of tackling mental health is to do the compounds, but start off as nutrients before you get onto the prescriptive side of it.
I mean,
because I feel like we would better take care a lot of this if we get our body correct. Then we wouldn't be needing to go into. I'm going to do it from curiosity.
Well, I use it. It's not just for sleeping. I use it for my athletes because what you're going to find is that the shilajits and the mumio, elite athletes are seeking this out. So if they're in college level or above, Olympic athletes, the Mumio and Shilajit, they help your blood hold on to oxygen better. Your tissues hold on to oxygen better. So it's a very good, healthy move. But also, if you're going to train at sea level, like we have the Olympic Training Center here in Claremont, if you're going to train at sea level and then go compete in Denver, you need a little advantage. So getting your blood chemistry able to hold on to oxygen better is a good move.
So do you believe that if we treat our body and we have all the compounds we need, that will take care of our mental health? Do you see that this correlation in the work that you've been doing, that if our body's messed up mentally, it's going to correlate?
Well, I look at it this way. There's layers. So you have to have, first of all, if you don't have a good foundation, you can have a good foundation, but if your dad beats you as a child, you still have to resolve that conflict.
Right. Yes.
So I can still build a foundation, but I work together with different professionals. So, and I will tell people, look, you need to get even red light therapy or even a hyperbaric chamber. Get some, like I can create the substrate so that their body holds oxygen better, but then maybe they need to be get oxygen pressed into them, right? So you can do things, even grounding. I'm barefoot all the time. Being grounded, sleeping on a grounding pad, bringing electrons into your body. These are all very relevant. Even people with low stomach acid, they're not absorbing nutrients because they have low stomach acid because they're deficient on electrons. Grounding yourself allows you to create, it gives you more electrons. You can create stomach acid. You can absorb nutrients better. It's all connected. The more we connect to the earth and return to the garden, the less likely we are to need an ibogaine or an ayahuasca. I'm not discounting the use of those for certain populations, or even the use for people that are in combat and saw their body get blown up or something. There's certain levels.
Depends what your intention is. Is it to heal? Is it exploration? Is it finding out new aspects of reality that are going to be of benefit spiritually?
Sure.
I mean, there's all sorts of reasons for doing this.
Yeah, and just being able to talk to somebody about your feelings. I have people who come into my studio and they bawl their eyes out. In fact, if they're not crying, I usually think something's wrong with them. No, for real, because almost everybody cries in the first 10 minutes of talking to me. And it's not me. I mean, I don't hurt them. I'm not busting on them. There's somebody that loves them. They feel the love, and they start to cry because nobody listens to people anymore. They're not girlfriends. They're not sitting around.
Just feel unheard.
They're walking around with their phones in their face, and there's this disconnection. But as soon as they feel a connection, if I go to the chamber, Sarah, I go to the chamber. This is a business chamber. People talking about their plumbing and their real estate. There's a whole people line up and they come and get their hug from me. I hug them and they receive their hug because it's free and it helps them and they know it.
Have you ever seen? It's Amma. She's alive and well. She's Hindu. I think she's a saint, and she has a hugging ministry. So she basically sits there for 12 hours on this big podium, and there's flowers, and all she does is hug people all day long. I'm going to send you. Amma, her name is. She's alive now. I mean, she's revered in India, and it is just hugging. What she is doing is called a Shakti put. She's putting energy into them in her presence.
I do that, and when I hug people, you talk about ayahuasca being the mother, right? I actually, it's an energetic imprint, right? So when I hug people, like if you come in, you're just a brand new client. When I hug you, what I'm doing is I'm actually visualizing all of the mothers throughout your entire lineage to infinity, all of your mothers.
This is your mental process.
This is what I do before I hug the person.
Wow.
All of the mothers to infinity, and I'm realizing that you are their dream. You are their dream. Every mother wants to do better. They want to love and extend love to their progeny.
And they want their progeny to do
better. And you
are
their dream. So what I do is I manifest that energy within me, and we're going to have an energy worker on our next podcast. We'll talk about energy, but I manifest that coherent energy, and I hug the person as if it was like a group hug from all of the mothers, and I surround that person with that loving, nurturing, maternal love.
That's a big intent, a big transfer.
Monster.
You're transmitting
but
something.
it's not me by myself.
It's coming through.
I'm literally summoning
Yes.
all of her ancestors to be present with her because she needs it.
Yeah.
And you can't not cry. It's impossible to not cry if you permit it. I mean, but the people who don't cry, they're almost always on medications. So what you're saying about being numb, they don't cry because they're not able to receive it. It's like having a radio and it's got no batteries, or it's got the wrong circuitry, or there's a cut wire. They can't receive that blessing because their circuitry is being short-circuited.
Yes, it's their circuit. It is being transmitted, but they can't receive it.
Yeah, they don't have the receiving capability. But once they're off the drugs, they can receive, they can cry, they can do whatever they have to do.
So your life now, the fact that you can actually experience emotion again is very liberating, isn't it? That's good. It's a success story.
It
the
is.
Whole
I mean,
thing.
it's
3 years today.
Honestly, I look at it.
I mean, where would you have been if you hadn't have just had all this taken out of you?
I
mean, it was almost like an exorcism.
I don't know that I'd be here.
Really?
I really don't know that I'd be here.
Yeah.
It was a true healing, and the best I can equate it to is a miracle.
Yeah.
Absolute miracle. And
your work now, what's your daily work to break the patterns of thinking that got you into that situation?
Yeah, so my work now is, to reinforce all the positives that I've learned through
to live in
this.
gratitude.
To be in a state of feeling gratitude, feeling blessed. I really am blessed.
Yeah.
It's not easy for me to say. I feel it, but it's not easy for me to express because the reality of my life was I never used those words. I never really used those words and truly felt them.
Because you didn't know what they meant.
Right. And so now to actually feel those things and be able to express those things, expressing things openly, I'm an introvert by nature.
Right.
So expressing things like that, it's a little challenging to begin with, just because of how I'm wired, but also because that wasn't the way I was.
Well, the majority of your life, nearly 40 years, was spent in a certain way. So you've got to reinvent yourself.
For sure.
And that's your great work now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hard part's been done.
Oh, the hard
part's
part's over.
Bullshit's gone. So now it's just embracing that and integrating that experience.
Mm-hmm. So, Jess, what is your hope as people listen to this episode? And Sarah, thanks for being open to having another guest.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah,
I think it's a great format.
We're fascinating subject.
You're only our third guest, or maybe third, whatever.
I'm going to have to be a guest on my own show after I've done it.
But I think it's really cool. I didn't expect we'd have guests, but after 60 episodes, I think it's time.
I think so.
And so we're going to start having other guests. The whole premise is this is a soul's journey. What does this mean to our soul's journey? Yeah. But what is your hope for somebody that's listening to this podcast? What do you hope they pull from it?
So I'd say first, my hope is that someone would feel some hope, especially if you deal with depression. Just know that you're not alone and there's an answer out there for you too. Maybe it's not ayahuasca. Maybe it's something else. And I hope that you find that something else, whatever it is. Yeah. This is my story and my journey and how I found healing, and I was able to overcome depression and live a life I never thought I'd be able to live. So hope would be first and foremost.
Yeah, I love it.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep trying, keep pushing, keep fighting. It sucks, but you can do it.
Keep looking.
And I guess secondary to that is we as a culture just need to be more open. We need to stop saying no and start saying maybe. Yeah, let's look into this. Could this be something?
Do you think that there's some conspiracy within the powers that be that don't want a load of enlightened people walking around the planet? Because if you open up these realms and this liberates people, maybe we're going to be harder to govern and manage.
Who is easier to control? Is it brainwashed, depressed, sick people?
Well, it's kind of like you were, just that numb robot.
Right. Yeah. Is it those people, or is it the people who have found healing, who are happy, who are productive, So
we might be up against a kind of a machine, but we still have to push through, have conversations like this.
Yeah, and it's encouraging that conversations like this are happening, that there's all these documentaries out there that I never dreamed I would be able to find.
I'm going to watch one tonight. I'm going on to Netflix tonight to
look at this ayahuasca. if you search, you will find. And
you can go onto YouTube and put that in, and there's loads of people taking journeys. Aubrey Marcus is another one. He's done a lot, and he's great.
He has,
and I love hearing about. And he just sounds like a very well-adjusted, expanded man. So he's an inspiration, and I think that's. Well, it's available, these YouTube videos, and that's where I see all my videos. They're there, they're being downloaded, and you can arrive at, more information than you could have done 10 years ago.
There's some amazing thought leaders that are coming to the forefront and making an impact, and their voices are being heard. But also acknowledging this isn't new. They were doing some incredible studies in the 60s, and it was showing incredible things for people who are dealing with trauma and PTSD and veterans. And there were so many positives that came out of it, but, it's not lucrative. And there's some major challenges.
I also think
it.
in the 60s, you had the backlash of a lot of people, the hippie culture in California.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was portrayed as a load of zombies.
That everybody's
that walking
lose their
around
mind.
and their children are playing in the street and they're not coherent. And it was a really bad.
Kind of like it is right now.
Funny that, isn't it?
Unfortunately, there were some big scare tactics.
Yes.
But, even beyond the 60s, it is biblical. I mean, I can't quote that this is actually totally factual, but I have heard that if you were to mix frankincense and myrrh together, it would create a psychedelic compound.
It's probably what happened to Ezekiel when he saw the chariot.
In theory, there could have been psychedelics at the birth of Jesus.
Sure. I absolutely
Well, let me just
goes way back.
Let me just give you an insight. Everybody thinks gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They automatically think gold is this precious metal. My position is it was not gold, the precious metal. My position is it was probably something like curcumin or turmeric. Yeah. Because why would you have two herbs and then a stack of metal?
Right.
That makes no sense.
Something golden color.
Herbs. It was golden color. It could have been any one of the golden herbs, but the trinity, the three of those together, probably had some beautiful impact on the people.
And that's how all this sacred and spiritual literature got written.
Maybe.
Because we were in some spiritual realm.
Yeah. I want to thank you for the reference to giving hope, because the first thing you said was offer hope. I actually grew up with depression. I was very sad, very depressed. I was trying to make sense of the world, kneeling in church, looking at this figure of this man bleeding out, and having my grandma telling me it's my fault. I'm like, shoot,
You nearly said it, didn't you?
I suck. I almost said the word, but I didn't know the word at the time.
No.
But now I know it, but I didn't say it.
No.
But it's like, man, dude, I'm so sorry. I don't know you, but your cross is heavier because I'm a piece of crap.
Yeah.
I mean, those things they will mess you up. So we have those conversations all the time. But I grew up feeling so sad and so guilty, but I didn't share it. And what I want to do, my favor to anyone listening to this, if you would have known me growing up, I was a very happy child, but a lot of it was fake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the happiest people you think you know are going through some stuff.
For sure.
And some of it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to ask people is this. I'm going to ask you, first of all y'all are great at sharing these episodes. We have people all across the world. We're probably in 50 countries now with this episode, with this podcast. We don't know who's suffering and who's not. I'm going to thank you in advance for just sharing this with people. Just let them be the judge.
Yeah.
Don't automatically think that they don't need to hear this. Send it to them and ask them their opinion, even though you don't care about their opinion. Just send it to them.
Yeah.
Just send it to them, because I would have loved to have known about this. I'm going to say when I was a teenager, this conversation I think would have been more relevant to me than now. If I didn't know how to control myself
You
now,
might have been.
But I had to go through all my stuff, same as you.
You've got all the tools now.
But now I've got the tools.
Yeah.
I've got very powerful nutraceuticals that bring balance. I've got probiotics. I know how to use them. I understand. I live in paradise, right? I walk barefoot. I touch nature all the time. Most people can't do that, so everyone's situation's different. But what I'm saying is that everyone's got a different part of their journey, whether this applies to them or not. We don't want to be the judge as to whether this applies to them.
No, it might
we want
not.
them to be the judge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for being our guest.
Thank you for having me.
Any closing thoughts on the way? You wrapped it up beautifully for your wish for the future. Anything else to add? Can people get a hold of you through me? I know you want your privacy, so if somebody wants to ask you a specific question, they can contact me and I'll give them the answer through me.
Yes, absolutely.
Folks, you can do that through souldecodes.com. There's a little contact page. Say, hey, this is for Jess. Ask her this. Yeah. Or I'll send the message to you and you do what you want to do.
Perfect.
Sarah, any closing thoughts?
Well, thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you. And I love meeting your brother. And like you, this hope. And it could be something that you find. I mean, your mind is going to be expanded. This isn't an experience. I mean, you've got to be pretty sure that you're mentally stable enough to go to that area, process that and come back. And there are stories of people that have broken down as a result of that. Yeah. So there is a danger element to it, but trust your gut, do the research on it. And if you're like you, where you know what, I've got to do something because this absolutely sucks. Have you met anyone that hasn't come back from this? Because when I asked your brother, he said he was talking about the church that he used to go to, and the reviews, even though people had a hardcore experience, the reviews were fantastic, that they wouldn't change that experience. So it might be a bit freaky. It might be hardcore. It might take your breath away. You might need a few days, a few weeks to come back from it. But ultimately, nothing much can happen to you.
No, everyone that I have met that has gone through this, with me or during instances where I volunteered when other people were going through this, everyone came out the other side with the most beautiful stories, the most beautiful feelings, the healing they needed, work to be done on the other side.
Sure.
It's
that's
never
what
done.
We're here for.
But,
well, that's what I'd like to leave the show with, that it's a beautiful experience, even though it's hardcore, and it can revolutionize your entire existence.
100%.
So I look forward to doing it in the next couple of months, and then
I'm excited
we'll have
to hear
another
about
podcast
it.
and you come back on.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today on Soul Decodes. Jess, thanks for joining us. Sarah, it's always good to see you.
Darling. It's lovely to be here again.
You can go to souldecodes.com. A lot of the information we have, the show notes, I'll put some links. I'll put a link to the Live Pure products. You can order what I was talking about is called Serene.
Yes, so
Serene.
Let me score a little bit of that on the way out. The
I'll
stuff that you were talking about.
Absolutely.
And I'll take that.
So we'll be in the show notes and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks in advance for sharing Soul Decodes with somebody you care about. Take care now.
Soul Decodes, a featured presentation, airs every Friday on the Earth Angel Media Network. This episode of Soul Decodes is sponsored and produced by Live Pure. Optimize your life by taking your health to the next level. Listen now to learn how Live Pure will make your world better.
Live Pure is an American-based distribution system of online portals that give discounted access to clean, potent, natural, and ethically sourced healthy solutions for fat loss, muscle gain, clean skin care, immune system support, whole body cleanse, physiological balance, and performance support for athletes of all ages. Live Pure handpicks the best products and nutrients from world-class companies, always adding to their quickly growing wellness lineup that now includes Korean skincare, no injection weight loss alternatives, medical-grade nutraceuticals listed in the physician's desk reference, and healthy coffee that rivals the world's best, but for only about $1 per cup. Soul Decodes listeners looking for youth, beauty, and better health can get wholesale pricing by visiting livepure.com/gateway and signing up for free as a preferred customer. Content creators, influencers, and virtual entrepreneurs looking for passive cash flows from emerging markets can profit from Live Pure's state-of-the-industry affiliate program, which provides up to 7 different payment vectors. Content creators aligned with Live Pure and Earth Angel Media will enjoy massive co-marketing benefits, including a personally branded website. Sign up as an affiliate brand partner at livepure.biz/gateway, or drop us a note at earthangelproject.com. Check out the show notes for more details.